There are routes that are planned and routes that are experienced. This started in Paris with a clear idea: to visit some of the most charming villages in this part of France. But doing it at our own pace? Is it really a good idea to do this trip by car? How many villages can you include without making the trip exhausting? For 7 days, we set out to find out. Travel companions, we are Monica and Fernando. We have room in the car. Hop in, let's go. But before finishing this route, there was one last stop, a place where, for almost 8 centuries, kings and emperors left their mark. Halls that witnessed decisions that changed the history of France. A palace less visited than Versailles, but with a different kind of strength. Would we make it there in the end? But everything started in Paris. We arrived in the city with part of our family in mid-December. There were 5 of us, so we needed space and comfort to get around throughout the entire trip. We sat down in front of the map and marked out the route. We would leave Paris and return to Paris on an itinerary designed to enjoy it without rushing. Villages, cities, and a final grand ending that we already had in mind. From the very beginning, we knew that this route was ideal to do by car, and the experience only confirmed it. On this kind of journey, where the towns are far apart, and the charm lies in taking detours and stopping without depending on schedules, traveling by car really makes a difference. And to organize it, we booked the vehicle through Discover Cars, a platform that compares different companies and lets you easily choose the option that best fits your trip. The process is very simple. You enter the pickup and drop-off locations, choose the dates and times, and select the model you need. And you can add full coverage, which we always recommend for traveling with peace of mind. You confirm the reservation online and that's it. Also, we're leaving our exclusive link for you in the description and on the blog, so you can get a discount on your car rental. It's valid for any destination, at any time, and with no expiration date. We're also showing the QR code here on the screen so you can access it directly. With everything ready, we set off towards our first destination. We started our journey. After about 170 kilometers, we arrived at a city with half-timbered houses and cobblestone streets, a perfect place to settle in and start exploring this route at a relaxed pace. Turba. We are in the Champagne region, which we visited before and featured in a previous channel video. But this time, we came with a different goal: to discover a city we hadn't visited yet, Troyes. We headed to our accommodation so we could drop off our luggage and quickly go out to walk through its streets. Getting lost in its cobbled streets, among medieval houses, and discovering churches everywhere is the city's most beautiful aspect. The houses seem to defy gravity, leaning from the passage of time, but carefully maintained. Their vibrant colors and the wooden frameworks make this walk really feel like it's taking place inside a fairy tale. Troyes is one of the best preserved medieval cities in France. During the Middle Ages, it was an important commercial center, famous for its champagne fairs that attracted merchants from all over Europe. Troyes has several small, realistic bronze sculptures scattered across its historic center. They are part of a modern artistic ensemble placed to bring life to the medieval squares and streets. Among its most notable buildings are the Cathedral of St. Peter and St. Paul, an impressive Gothic church that began construction in the 13th century and which is remarkable for the size of its stained glass windows. It's also worth visiting the Church of St. Magdalene, one of the oldest in the city, known for its delicate carved stone structure inside. But beyond the specific monuments, what really makes Troyes special is the city as a whole. Wandering aimlessly, crossing small squares, discovering hidden courtyards, and letting the medieval architecture set the pace of your walk. We, as we mentioned, visited them in December, and the atmosphere was even more special. The Christmas market filled the squares with lights, craft stalls, and the scent of warm spices. Walking at sunset, with the illuminated facades and that festive atmosphere, was one of those moments that really stay with you during the trip. We will make a full video about this city later on, because we believe it deserves it. When night fell, we chose a restaurant right in the historic center to have dinner and end the day calmly. We're showing you the name on the screen, along with the price of the dinner, so you have a reference, in case you're planning your own tour around the city. We chose a hotel in the historic center, which was an excellent option. The double room, with breakfast included and free cancellation, cost €190 per night. In the morning, we had breakfast at the hotel. At this time of year, in December, sunrise takes a little longer to arrive, but we were already prepared to go out. A new day meant more traveling. We had a little over 300 kilometers to go to the next city, already in the Alsace region. And as often happens on these road trips, the journey also becomes the destination. Driving through small towns, seeing the signs that show the Tour de France passed through there. In short, simply enjoying the ride. Mulhouse. Mulhouse is mainly known for its large museums, especially the automobile and train museums, two of the most important in Europe in their categories. In addition, in December, it holds one of the region's most notable Christmas markets. The city has a small but pleasant historic center, with colorful houses, lively squares, and architecture that already begins to show that very particular character of Alsace. The square, with the town hall and the Senetian temple, is one of the prettiest spots. Perfect for a stroll. Take your time. Getting lost in the streets of this city is absolutely worth it. Take it easy, stop like we did to have a coffee, and discover step by step the charm of this French city. The Automobile Museum, as we said, is one of the must-sees in the city, so we included it in our tour. The Mulhouse Automobile Museum houses the largest private collection of classic cars in the world. Inside, you can see true historical gems, from early 20th century models to luxury and racing vehicles, including several Bugatti pieces, which are true works of art on wheels. General admission costs €18. Even for those of us who aren't particularly car enthusiasts, the staging and the magnitude of the collection make the visit truly surprising. The train museum, for its part, is one of the most important in Europe. It allows you to explore the history of the railroad through original locomotives and carriages from different eras. The general admission costs €16. After exploring it and enjoying it at our own pace, we set off in the afternoon towards the village where we would stay that night, ready to continue discovering this area of France. The next day, we arrived in Eguisheim, which would be our base to explore several nearby villages over the next few days. We would stay 3 nights in a hotel. It matched the local style perfectly, with that typical Alsatian architecture that makes you feel like you're inside a postcard, and with a restaurant right there, which is so convenient when you're traveling with family. Eguisheim is located in the Alsace region, just a few kilometers from Colmar, surrounded by vineyards and gentle hills that are part of the famous Alsace wine route. It's one of the most picturesque villages in France, and it has a very unique shape. Its historic center is organized in concentric circles that surround the main square, inviting you to wander aimlessly, simply letting yourself be carried away by its cobblestone streets. The houses, with their timber frames, pastel-colored facades, and balconies full of flowers, look like something out of a fairy tale. In fact, Eguisheim was one of the sources of inspiration for the village in Disney's movie Beauty and the Beast, and as you walk through its streets, it's easy to see why. Beyond its beauty, it's worth stopping at the central square, where you'll find the castle of the Counts of Eguisheim, and go up to the Chapel of St. Leon. The Chapel of St. Leon is dedicated to Leon IX, a pope who was born here in Eguisheim in the 11th century. We also find the Church of St. Peter and St. Paul, the parish church of Eguisheim. We had already visited this village on another occasion, and this time we promised ourselves to come back and stay here. And I can assure you, it was an excellent decision. The village is small, so even though these places can get crowded during the day, at nightfall they empty out and regain a very special calm. That moment when we returned to the hotel, got ready for dinner, and went out to walk through almost silent streets. It had a charm that was hard to describe, and that's when we felt that we were truly experiencing Alsace. We are already told you about the hotel. We chose a bed and breakfast type of accommodation, which really matched the village's aesthetic. In the month of December, we paid around €200 per room with breakfast included and free cancellation. Even though everything was perfect, the bathroom is very uncomfortable, at least for us, because it has a bathtub and a handheld shower, but not a rain shower from above, so you had to shower with the handheld shower head. It also has, which is very convenient, a parking area behind the accommodation. If you go by car, which is the idea in this kind of towns, your stay can be very comfortable. Keep in mind that this area usually has higher prices during the Christmas season, so at other times you will probably find different rates. We leave you the link on the blog for all the hotels mentioned, so you can check availability according to your dates. Music. Very close to there, we had Colmar, a city that is almost always included in any itinerary for this area of France. Music. We were only 6 kilometers apart, and that's another advantage of staying in Eguisheim. All these towns are very close to each other. For many, Colmar is the jewel of Alsace, a city that combines the elegance of a small capital with the charm of a fairy tale village. Music. During the day, its canals reflect the pastel-colored facades and the perfectly preserved half-timbered houses. Music. The neighborhood, known as Petite Venise, is one of the most photographed spots, with boats traveling along the canal and balconies full of flowers that look like they were decorated with precision. Walking through its historic center means discovering spacious squares, Gothic churches like St. Martin's, and Renaissance buildings that speak of the wealth the city had in past centuries. Music. But if it's charming during the day, at night Colmar transforms. The warm lighting enhances the facades, and although it's a beautiful place at any time of year, at Christmas it takes on a truly special glow. Music. In December. In addition, the Christmas lights further accentuate that magical atmosphere that makes you want to walk without looking at the clock. Music. On another occasion, we stayed here at the Turckheim Hotel. I'll leave the link on the blog so you can check prices for your dates, in case you prefer to stay in Colmar instead of in Eastgate. Music. The weather during our visit wasn't the sunniest, and the days were short. Around 4:30 in the afternoon, it would start to get dark. Even so, these towns are so magical that you enjoy them just as much, and the Christmas atmosphere fills the streets. Music. We had already visited the area in the spring, with the storks and the vineyards along the sides of the roads, and it's also beautiful. We'll show you some images so you can see that, at any time of year, this road trip through France has its charm. Music. Today, we would visit one more village, and then return to the hotel, Turckheim, which is just 7 kilometers away. As you can see, these places are very close to each other, so deciding which one to visit can be difficult. There are always more beautiful villages than available time. Music. Turckheim is one of those villages that seems frozen in time. It is located in the heart of Alsace, just a few kilometers from Colmar, and is part of the famous wine route. Music. Walking through Turckheim is perfect for getting lost among small squares, discovering hidden corners, and enjoying the calm of an authentic village that feels alive, yet peaceful at the same time. Music. Its cobblestone streets and half-timbered houses are full of color, with balconies decorated with flowers and details that keep the Alsatian tradition intact. At this time of year, of course, the flowers are replaced by Christmas decorations. Music. Passing through the gate of its medieval wall makes us feel like we're stepping directly into another century. Music. During our visit in December, the Christmas atmosphere gave it a special charm. Lights, the scent of spices, and small local shops make every corner inviting to stop and walk slowly. Music. If you're enjoying these kinds of detailed routes, made by real travelers, step-by-step tours, or if you feel like you're coming along with us during the tour, we encourage you to subscribe and give us a like so you don't miss any of our tours, as well as share them with those travel companions who like to create their own itineraries, just like you and me. Music? For those who are exploring the area by car, it's important to know that you can park in free parking areas right in front of the entrance to the village, which makes visiting so much easier. After exploring Turckheim and enjoying its peacefulness, we returned to our hotel in Eguisheim. We were only about 7 kilometers away, so the trip was short and comfortable, and it allowed us to use the afternoon to rest a bit before dinner. It was the perfect time to reflect on the day, enjoy the village atmosphere as night fell, and get ready to discover the next places on our route. The next day, just like the day before, dinner was also at the hotel restaurant. Music. Today, another day awaited us in Eguisheim, with a plan to visit 2 villages, plus more music. The first was Riquewihr, one of the most famous and picturesque villages in Alsace, with its colorful houses and perfectly preserved timber frames. Its cobblestone streets, which lead to a square full of shops, look like something out of a fairy tale. Music. But since it was December, the number of visitors was really high, so we decided not to stay too long and continue our route to the next destination. Music, music. We have visited Riquewihr outside of the Christmas season, and it's a town like the others. Nice to walk around. The town is beautiful. It's the same at any time of year. But, as you saw in the footage, it was practically impossible to walk because there were so many people. Music, music. So we hit the road, about 15 more kilometers, bringing us closer to Kaysersberg. Music. That's how we arrived at Kaysersberg, just a few kilometers away. Music. The town welcomed us with quiet streets, decorated facades, and a much more relaxed atmosphere than Riquewihr, perfect for stopping for lunch. Kaysersberg is another one of the most beautiful villages in Alsace, located in the heart of the famous wine route, and its history dates back to the Middle Ages, when it was part of an important trade route in the region. Musica is known for its castle on top of the hill and for its charming historic center. We chose a small local restaurant where we enjoyed typical Alsatian cuisine. While we were having lunch, we could look at the little streets full of details and feel how the day moved along calmly, a perfect moment to recharge our energy before finishing our route for today. As always, I keep all the receipts for everything we eat. Remember that there were 5 of us. Music. In Kaysersberg, besides the fortified bridge, the Church of Sainte Croix stands out, known for its interesting medieval altarpiece. Music. And the ruins of the imperial castle, which overlook the village from the top of the hill, a 19th century fortress. Music to control this important route through the valley. On our last night in Eguisheim, we also had dinner at the hotel and continued tasting typical Alsatian dishes. It was dawn in Eguisheim, and we were packing our bags because another must-see destination in France was waiting for us: Strasbourg. Our plan to tour these French towns by car for 7 days was turning out to be a great idea, just as we had imagined. Because on this kind of trip, it's not just about the destination, but about all the beautiful things you discover along the way. But before arriving, we would make a stop in Riquewihr, a small and charming medieval village, famous for its 3 towers and its main street, full of half-timbered houses and colorful facades. Though it's popular in December for the Christmas market, walking its streets still lets you find quiet corners and squares to pause and enjoy the details of Alsatian architecture. It was a short walk, but delightful and perfect to feel the magic of these towns once again. After getting lost along that main street and thoroughly enjoying the walk, we headed to Strasbourg, just over 50 kilometers away, now enjoying the landscapes of vineyards and Alsatian hills that line the route. We arrived in the afternoon, just as the city was starting to get ready for the evening, and we checked in. An IBIS was our choice. This time, we paid for the double room, with breakfast and free cancellation in December, about €200. As always, the details are in a post on the blog. The streets of the historic center, with their canals and old houses, were starting to light up with the first lights, creating an intimate and cozy atmosphere. Tomorrow, we would spend the whole day exploring Strasbourg, visiting its impressive cathedral, the medieval neighborhoods, and of course, the famous Christmas markets that bring so much life to the city. In December, we had dinner at a typical place in this city. I'll leave the name and the receipt here. We woke up in Strasbourg and started a full day in the city, with enough time to explore it thoroughly and enjoy every corner of its historic center. We already knew it from a previous visit, when we spent several days exploring its streets and canals, and we left a full video with that route for those who want to discover it in detail. If you haven't visited Strasbourg yet, I recommend that you spend at least 2 full days there. Remember that in our case, we were arriving in the late afternoon or evening because it gets dark very early, so what we had left was basically 1 full day and a few hours. I wouldn't recommend that if you haven't been to the city yet. Strasbourg has so much to offer. Its impressive Gothic cathedral, with its astronomical clock and the details on its facade, is a must-see. Entrance to the cathedral is free, and at this time of year, you can see the nativity scene set up. From there, walking through the Le Petit France neighborhood is like stepping back several centuries. Canals lined with half-timbered houses, stone bridges, and cobblestone streets that invite you to stop and admire every detail. In addition, the city is full of spacious squares, historic buildings, and small local shops where you can experience everyday Alsatian life. Even though the day wasn't sunny, the colors of the houses, the reflections on the water, and the Christmas atmosphere made the experience truly magical. We spent the morning and afternoon walking, exploring the most iconic corners as well as lesser-known ones, enjoying cafes and small local restaurants. Strasbourg shows that even in a well-known city, there are always new details to discover. All of this was enhanced by the magic of the Christmas markets. Honestly, walking through its streets is always a pleasure, especially at this time of year. This city has something special, but even though we didn't want to, we had to leave. But the journey wasn't over yet. Here you have 2 options. Travel directly to Paris, which is about 500 kilometers away, and finish the tour there, or add 1 more night along the way. Some good stops could be Chaumont, going back to Troyes, Châlons-en-Champagne. There are other good options too, and from there return to Paris. We chose to stop for 1 more night so we could visit the Palace of Fontainebleau the next morning. The city itself is also very beautiful. Fontainebleau is a small and elegant city located about 70 kilometers from Paris, surrounded by one of the largest forests in France. For centuries, it was a place highly valued by royalty, who came here to rest and enjoy nature. Today, the city maintains that calm and refined atmosphere, with pleasant streets for walking, small shops, cafes, and restaurants that invite you to take a break before or after visiting its famous palace. It's also a university city, which gives it a lively atmosphere throughout the year. And although many visitors come just to see the palace, it's worth taking some time to walk around the center and enjoy the relaxed atmosphere of this historic city. And now, the visit to the palace. The building is beautiful and elegant, and walking through its halls and gardens is truly lovely and interesting. The palace was the residence of the kings of France for centuries, from Francois I in the 16th century to Napoleon Bonaparte. Many monarchs left their mark here. In fact, it was in this palace where Napoleon signed his first abdication in 1814, before leaving for exile on the island of Elba. This blend of Renaissance architecture and imperial halls makes the visit different from Versailles. More intimate, more varied, and, in many moments, more peaceful. The general admission is around €14, although there are usually reduced rates and free entry for those under 18 and citizens of the European Union. Under 26. You can buy tickets directly at the ticket office, but if you're traveling during high season or on weekends, we recommend purchasing them online in advance to avoid lines. Plan to spend at least 2 hours to calmly explore the interior, and a bit more if you want to stroll leisurely through the gardens. Walking through its gardens is fantastic and very peaceful. There were very few people. Honestly, it was wonderful to be able to take that walk. If you are doing this route by car, right across the street from the palace, there is a very convenient paid parking lot, which makes the visit much easier. But, I repeat, if you already know Versailles, it's an excellent option. If you have an extra day in Paris, we started our return to Paris in the afternoon. We were a little over 60 kilometers away. We would return the car and stay several days in the city, thus ending this route through some of the most beautiful villages in France. This van cost €827 for 1 week with insurance coverage, but this is just for reference, because it varies a lot depending on many factors, including the size of the vehicle, the dates, and how far in advance you book. Remember that our promotional link with an exclusive discount from Discover Cars is for you, our travel companions. It's available in the description and in the QR code on the screen, as well as on our blog. You can use it for any destination, at any time, and with no expiration date. Don't miss out. In 7 days, we visited medieval towns, historic cities, and a palace that shaped the destiny of France. We did it at our own pace, enjoying every stop, without depending on schedules. The map of the route and the accommodation details are also available in a special post on the blog. If you like road trips, we can continue with this one.